Hi, I'm State Representative Brian Ohler of the 64th House District. I wanted to create this video today to shed some light on what has occurred over the last week here in the Legislative Office Building. As you know, there's been numerous media outlet reporting of some chaos, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, coming out of the Appropriations Committee, of which I'm a member, a very proud member of this. I think as a freshman to be on the Appropriations Committee, it's very eye-opening to a lot of the numbers that are coming in. You know, we're working with a $20 billion budget, but thankfully with my previous experience on the Board of Finance in North Canaan, being a small business owner, numbers are somewhat natural to me. And as you can see in front of me, what we're working with here, we had the governor's originally proposed budget, which was horrifying, harrowing, and drastic. We had the Appropriations Committee budget that unfortunately was not even voted on this past Tuesday, the 25th. And then we have the recently released Republican budget that we announced yesterday that we're very proud of. It's not perfect, nothing's ever perfect, but it's a strong foundation to work with. At least something's been presented. And I know there's been some grumblings. It seems like there's been a lot of infighting with each party. And I just want to shed some light on what exactly happened. So for as long as I can remember, I've always harped on the fact that legislators only have days, if not hours, to go through a bill or go through a budget, and we're expected to vote on it. And these votes are very impactful. They can be very good or they can be very bad. And when we're talking about a $20 billion budget, that is something that we need to take as serious as it can be. Because within that budget, I mean, you're going literally line by line, highlighting things that affect your district, programs that your constituents have been advocating for and lobbying for. And on Tuesday, we received the Appropriations Committee budget at 10 a.m. Our ranking member for the House was supposed to receive it the previous night. She did not get that until 10 a.m., the same time the committee members did. And we had 3 hours to go through roughly 260 pages, line by line, and read, you know, the proposed substitute bill that was supplied with it. And just in those 3 hours alone, the amount of red flags that were raised, questions that we had, was staggering. And there was just no way that we could support it. So it comes to find out that some members on the majority party, some of their members didn't like it either. And that caused a lot of friction. So what ultimately happened about 3 o'clock that afternoon, we came back in, and essentially no vote was ever taken. The meeting was adjourned. And I guess from what history has said, this is the first time it's ever happened. Our deadline was yesterday, Thursday, the 27th at 5 p.m. We needed to have an Appropriations Committee budget voted on and sent out so we could begin the process over the next 2 months to hopefully get it passed before the end of session, which is June 7th. It didn't happen. And it's upsetting because we had a lot of questions. We were looking forward to a productive, a cordial debate, and ultimately the chairs of that committee decided not to hold the vote. And that brings us to where we are today, without an Appropriations Committee budget. So what was the big issue? What was the big concern? Well, on face value, the Appropriations Committee budget did look, you know, the northwest corner did fare pretty well. But when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, there are total, when you break it down, $121 million after all said and done that was unaccounted for. There was no revenue plan to pay for it. To try to fund that budget, $77 million was going to be taken from the Special Transportation Fund, a fund that has been gone to time and time again to fund petty projects, pet projects, whatever you want to call it, anything other than roads and bridges or infrastructure upgrades. It's just unacceptable. And part of that budget also, it relied on the governor's revenue package of about $320 million. So part of that was tax increases, fee increases, the pistol permit fee increase that we all know about, which we all argued against. So if they're using the governor's revenue projection or his plan, and they're putting it in that, that's filled with fees and taxes. I can't support that, and I told you I never would. So the responsible thing to do is to move forward with some type of budget. The Republicans, we put forward a budget yesterday we came out with. Is it perfect? It's not. Is it a zero tax increase budget? Zero new tax increase budget? It is. Are there some areas that I would like to address and to see corrected? Absolutely. But when it comes down to the northwest corner, we fare very well. Our hospitals are held harmless. Our towns are held harmless. Town aid is right where it's expected to be. There's no drastic cuts because I think for far too long, or for a long time, our small towns have run as lean and as efficient as possible. And now it seemed like we were kind of being preyed upon to bail out the bigger cities. Now, I would never want to see any of our cities default or go bankrupt. But to prey on our small towns for doing something so well, being fiscally conservative over so many generations, to maintain that statutorily required fund balance, now we're being preyed upon for that. But the Republican budget, it keeps ECS whole, it keeps special ed whole, it eliminates the pistol permit fee increases, and it doesn't raid our special transportation fund. So where do we find those savings? It erases a $3 billion budget deficit. We're seeing a lot of consolidations within our state agencies. We are very top-heavy in our state and in a lot of our state agencies, and we want to reduce some of that through attrition. We don't expect any layoffs from this. When we talk about eliminating taxpayer-funded campaigns, the Citizens Election Program, we don't need it. Restores fire training, the fire training schools. It restores their funding to the 2012 levels. Again, core functions of government. How are we going to move forward supporting our core functions, funding that properly without impacting you, the taxpayer, your families, or your businesses? So I just wanted to create this video and to let you know that this week has been very hectic. But I think it's about 4 months since the session started, and I already feel like a seasoned veteran up here because we've been up here 5 days a week, and we have been turning page by page, taking highlighters and finding anything, identifying any waste possible to reduce the overall budget. And I can assure you that this is not over. We have 2 long months ahead of us, and we're doing our best to get at least municipal numbers out to you as fast as possible and accurate numbers. It's not fair for us to require the small towns to put out a budget by a set deadline when you guys don't even know what your municipal aid is. So everything we're trying to do in a time-sensitive manner, knowing the time constraints that everyone else is under. And it's the responsible thing to do. It's the accountable thing to do. And this is what we've always harped on. So we're putting our feet to the fire, and as it should be. We need to be held accountable just as much up here as much as we're holding everyone else accountable. And we need to lead by example. And that's exactly what we're doing. So again, we have a budget out. It's a foundation. It's not perfect, but it's a better way forward. And I think ultimately it's going to lead to a more confident Connecticut. And what does that mean? Families are going to invest more. Businesses are going to invest more. People get more relief out of their wallet. Hopefully those plans to move south will be delayed a little bit, ultimately, hopefully erased, and you can stay here and prosper here, because that's what Connecticut is. We're a prosperous state. We were once, and I know we can be again. So we're working very hard. I thank you for your patience and your understanding, and ultimately, I thank you for your support. We're doing the best that we can. We're trying to make you proud. So thank you very much, and I hope this video helps a little bit. Have a great day.